Welcome everyone to another music review. My name is Bryce. I am back doing these music reviews because if you follow my YouTube channel, then you would know that I've had a little bit of a fiasco with my hard drive, but I have a replacement hard drive now, so now I can transfer the files as necessary. And this music review that I'm about to do today, I've had kind of in the wings for a while, but it got pushed back initially because of the release of Carrie Job's album, The Garden. I decided to do a review of her very first album in celebration of that. And then I was going to do this one, and then the whole thing with the hard drive happened. But now I can finally get this review underway, and this review is looking at Third Day's eighth, I believe, album. Because I don't have like their first six or whatever, it gets a little confusing for me. But Third Day's eighth album, Wherever You Are. This was done back in 2005, and it was put out by Essential Records, who at the time, I believe they still are, a part of the Sony BMG Music Entertainment and Provident label group. So, yeah, this was actually the first Third Day album that I ever had. I got this one well before I ever got Wire, or ever even heard of Wire for that matter. So this was my first exposure to Third Day, and I have loved these guys ever since. So I'm really excited to kind of review this album. It has 12 tracks on it, so let's get into that. First up is Tunnel. This is track one. So this one's kind of a more mildly paced kind of rock to it. It's not as bold or in your face as Till the Day I Die was at the start of Wire, but it's kind of goes along those same parallels. So it's a typical Third Day kind of a sound to it. As far as the message goes, it's a song about going through tough times, and how there's a light at the end of the tunnel, kind of thing. That's what the chorus is going on about. So I like this song. Track two is Eagles. This one's a little bit faster than Tunnel, not by much. It's a little bit faster, but it's nowhere near as bright. Tunnel is kind of a bright sounding song. This one's a little bit more. I don't want to say mellow because I tend to describe paces as being mellow, but the sound is much more, I guess, contained, if you will. The song is about taking your burdens to Jesus, and the chorus kind of quotes. It kind of bears some resemblance from to the book of Isaiah, talking about I will soar on the wings of eagles, and things like that. It's I believe what it is drawing reference to. So it's okay. It's not. I won't say it's the best on the track, but I do enjoy it. It is a very good song. Track three is Cry Out to Jesus. Now, Tunnel may have barely been on the radio. I don't remember it being on the radio much, if at all, which is a crying shame because it should have been. But Cry Out to Jesus was definitely on the radio. This is kind of actually where the album gets its title from. This is one of those albums where there's no track title. You find the source for the title in one of the songs. These Simple Truths does that. The Sidewalk Prophets album that I reviewed some time ago. Should check that one out. Cheap plug, but they do the same thing, and as what's going on here with Cry Out to Jesus and Wherever You Are. So Wherever You Are is found somewhere in the middle of that. Where is it in the middle of it? Well, you should listen to the song and find out. But as for the song itself, it's a lot slower. It's got the same message as Eagles, but it focuses more on the coming to Jesus himself for those burdens. being focuses a little bit more on it as opposed to just kind of how, taking everything in general. Eagles is a little bit more generalized. This very specifically is about the coming to Jesus and crying out to him and everything, and I think it does a little bit better job of delivering the message. Track 4 is I Can Feel It. So this has got a pretty solid rock groove of the songs that we've looked at so far on the album. This is probably one that bears the most resemblance to the common style that you find on Wire. However, I do have a slight problem with this one though. The things like the guitar and drums, they really drown out the vocals in certain spots, especially in the chorus. More so the guitars, I think, than the drums drown them out. But the vocals are really kind of hard to hear in the chorus, and that's never okay with me. If you're gonna drown out the vocals anywhere, you do not want to do it in the chorus because that's the part of the song that everybody's supposed to know and be able to sing. Anyway, the singer is talking about seeking God's presence, and when it's there, he can feel it, and he's obviously really overjoyed about the fact that he can feel it. So, it's kind of self-explanatory, but that's basically the gist of the song. It has its problems, but overall it's okay. Track 5, Keep On Shining. So this one's a little bit mellow. It's kind of sort of a southern rock style to it. It's interesting. I'd say it's really, the song itself is about not keeping our light hidden, but letting it shine out and everything, and which is one of the things that Jesus told his disciples and everything, and all the people who were following. I mean, don't put your light underneath a bushel or anything like that. So it's got a very good message, a very biblical message, and the music style is pretty complimentary to it. Is it the best song on the album? No, it's really not. But for what it is, it's compelling in a sense. So I'll let you guys check it out. Track 6 is Communion. So this one's got a pretty similar feel, I think, to Cry Out to Jesus. But this song calls for remembrance of what Jesus did. The chorus itself actually highlights the communion as the means of remembrance. And you remember what Jesus said about when you're taking communion, you do this in remembrance of me, and that's kind of what the song is kind of prodding everybody to do, and it's, kind of helping use communion as a reminder of what Jesus did for us. So it's unique in that sense, and I know I've heard this one on the radio. While not one of my top recommendations, this song's actually kind of grown on me more recently when I started listening to this. So I would put this in the recommendations, and I would also put the next track in as well with that. Track 7, Carry My Cross. There's kind of, like, at the start of it, there's maybe I heard it wrong or something, but it almost sounded like there was this weird effect going on in the background that was kind of distracting, but otherwise, pretty quiet start, and it, ends up turning into a little bit more moderate rock and things like that. So the point of view, the song actually kind of takes the point of view of Jesus, and he's singing. It sounds to me anyway like he's singing to his Father as he's preparing to die. He's kind of just reflecting on everything that's about to happen, and is getting ready to take it on. For those of us who listen to it, it's a good way of kind of getting into the mind of Jesus and just what exactly he was thinking before all that happened, and when we start to do that, then we can really begin to appreciate even more the sacrifice that he made for us. So it's a really good song. Track 8, How Do You Know? So this one's got a kind of a general rock feel to it. Pretty typical Third Day. The song seems to address people who go to others in like judgmentalism, or maybe not even knowing the whole story. The example I kind of think of are like Job's friends, how they just kind of came to him, just started pointing the fingers and whatnot. It's like, well, obviously this is happening to you because you've been sinning or something, so you need to find out how you've been sinning and repent and everything. And just instead of just trying to help people work through what's going on, a lot of people just kind of go in either not knowing the whole situation or just with a judgmental attitude, and just start messing things up even further. And that's just really not something that we should be doing as Christians. So it's a good reminder for us not to do that, in other words. Track 9 is Mountain of God. This one starts with vocals and guitar. It's a pretty modest sound to it, I think. I enjoy this one a lot. It's one of my favorites on here. Song is about going through trials in our walk to kind of reach our destiny, what our ultimate destiny is, and how God is with us as we go through this journey. I think musically, there's a great build in the bridge to the last chorus, and then by the time Max starts singing the chorus, he's getting really into it, and it just helps set the mood for the whole impact of the message. I really, really like it. It's very well written. Track 10, Love Heals Your Heart. So, without mentioning Jesus, this song is about how his love can heal the people who are in hurt. And I don't mean to take away from it or anything. I mean, there's generally, just by the song is good. I think it probably would have kind of helped seal the message, or kind of help shape it a little bit better if they had mentioned Jesus at some point in there by his name. The fact that it's his love, not just general love, but the fact that it's his love. I think a discerning Christian could figure that out, but an unbeliever maybe not so much. So that's probably something I would have tried to include in there, but hey. Track 11, The Sun is Shining. So I take it that this song is from the perspective of a new Christian. It's about the change in their lives. There's kind of a metaphor in there, about how things were everything around him, it was in a sense like night, and now everything's going into day, hence the sun is shining. It's bringing in light, and it's like a new day for him and everything. And the music kind of complements it too. It's like almost it's like kind of mostly acoustic, but at the same time it's got some background things that kind of help give it a little bit more of a presence than just like typical acoustic sounds. So it's interesting. So check it out. Final track on here is Rise Up, which is a very common song name apparently. I've come across, I know at least three completely different songs, mind you, that are titled Rise Up. So this being one of them, this is Third Days, and the song, I would say kind of musically, the song almost seems to have like a kind of a mixed blend of most of the other styles that you find in this album. It's almost like kind of like I said, just a mix of them. As for the message itself, I think the song shows Jesus trying to comfort the listener who is down from whatever life has been throwing at them. No matter who it is. So I guess so. I mean, I get it kind of walks that line of whether it's Jesus himself addressing the listener or if it's someone telling another person about Jesus or something like that. But regardless, though, it's a good song of encouragement that yeah, it's got a really nice sound to it and everything. Not one that I usually go back to, but still very good. And honestly, it's a really just kind of musically, it's a very good way to end the album. So I do give it some praise for that. So that's all the tracks. Really quickly, let me just kind of say, give this a little summary about it. So Third Day, really, in this one, you can kind of start to sense that they're beginning to trade their rock sound for a little bit more of a little bit more contemporary sounding, like, so in that regard, kind of like toned down just a little bit. It's hard since I don't have and have not listened to their first 6 albums, the ones that I don't have. It's kind of hard. It's hard for me to say if they've ever done this before in their past. I did get on YouTube and I listened to a little bit of their very first one. It was the only way that I could get a hold of it at the time, and it's kind of got like that typical 90s rock style as opposed to a little bit more modern rock. But so if assuming that pattern continues, which honestly I don't know, then it would be about this time where they're starting to become, they still hold true to their rock sound, but they're starting to become a little bit more contemporary and the little bit less edgy, I guess. I mean, not that edgy is necessarily bad, but the band's been around for quite a while, so as they get into their later years, maybe they're more comfortable with it being a little less edgy and trying to focus on contemporary. I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad change, but longtime fans of Third Day by this point who maybe liked a little bit edginess, now they're starting to back it off just a little bit, and maybe some people wouldn't like that. Me personally, I don't have a problem with it because Third Day still, no matter whether it's got a little bit more edginess to it or if it's a little bit more contemporary sounding, they still sound like Third Day to me. Mostly because Mac Powell has one of the most unique voices that I've ever heard in my life, so that kind of helps to it. But anyway, so all that being the case, ironically, I like the music better in Wire, but I like the lyrics better in Wherever You Are. So that's kind of an interesting trade-off. However, since there was no song on this album that disappointed me at all, because if you remember from the Wire review, San Angelo, I believe it was really a massive blemish on what was I considered to be a masterpiece. Well, maybe not a masterpiece because that's like Sidewalk Prophets level, but very good album. Let's put it that way. San Angelo was a massive blemish on it. But as far as this one, since no song disappointed me, I'm going to give it kind of slightly higher rating because, again, I did like the music overall better on Wire, but this was very, very, very solid. And again, this is my first introduction to Third Day, so ever since I heard this album, I've thought this group was awesome, like just one of the best music groups to ever live. And now there's a little bit more competition in in my life, but I still love Third Day. I will always be a diehard Third Day fan. So that being the case, because of the whole bit with no song disappointing me on this album, I'm going to give it a slightly higher grade, like I said, and that slightly higher grade is a 4.34 out of 5. Really, I think that this album complements Wire very well because of that whole exchange, and it sounds to me that as Third Day starts to become more contemporary, this is a very good transition for them. If you've got time, listen to both albums straight through, and you'll kind of sense what I'm talking about a little bit. But I think they complement each other very well, and it was a very good follow-up to Wire, which Wire received like Best Christian Rock Album or something of the year, whatever for whatever year Dove Awards that was. So this was a really good follow-up to Wire. My favorites on this one are Tunnel, Cry Out to Jesus, and Mountain of God. Those have been my 3 favorites ever since I first started listening to this album. However, I do have, a few other kind of lesser recommendations, but still, very, would recommend them to anybody who wanted to check them out. That would be Eagles, Communion, and Carry My Cross. So, again, very good album. And Third Day, I still have yet to be able to see them in concert, unfortunately, but who knows, maybe one of these days. As far as albums that I have of Third Days left, I've got basically from Wire until their most recent one, which I can't remember which one it is, but that's the one that's got mostly live tracks on it. So I've got all of those, and if I can't get my hands on physical copies of Third Day's old stuff, then I may just have to use YouTube to listen to them and things like that. But I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. But until next time, though, because I don't know when I'm going to do another Third Day review. It's gonna be around the corner, I think, because I'm trying to take care of a whole bunch of artists at the same time and everything. But obviously, the next review is not going to be a Third Day review. It's probably going to be like Big Daddy Weave or something like that. But anyway, you guys, I think I've rambled on long enough. So I hope you enjoyed this music review, and if you have any comments, tell me what you think about Third Day, or you can even tell me who your favorite artists are and everything. Maybe give me some suggestions as to who I should review next. But regardless, though, if you do want to, please email me at cootexpressions@gmail.com. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for listening to this music review, and until next time, please take care.